Good morning, everybody. So this morning we are going to be reading a passage, and to start us off, I have 3 random pictures on the board. Now, these pictures have to do with our passage, so I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to look at the board, look at the pictures, and we're going to predict what we think that our passage is going to be about this morning. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to analyze your pictures. All right, Zan, what do you think that our passage is going to be about today? A place, okay. And why do you think that maybe we're going to be talking about a place? Because there's a little map piece right here, yeah. This is a flag, and so usually when we're talking about flags, we're talking about places. All right, good job. Yes, Lacey. Probably a place that has food. Well, definitely a place that has food. We have a meal right here in the middle. We're not really sure what that is, but wherever this place is, that kind of food is going to be there, right? All right, good job. So these 3 pictures that are on the board all have something to do with Korea. We are actually going to be reading a passage about Korea. This first picture right here is the Korean flag. This second picture is a Korean dish that they eat. And here we have an actual map of North and South Korea. So you guys were spot on. We are going to be talking about a place. We are going to be talking about somewhere that people might eat this food. We're going to be talking about Korea. The goal of our lesson today is to read and focus on Korea and learn some new facts about Korea from this passage that we're going to be reading together. When we're reading this passage, we want to look for evidence in the passage that's going to back up and support some answers that we're going to be answering later on in this lesson. Okay, first thing that we're going to do is the paper that I have just put on the board, we are going to do a little pre-assessment before we get into our lesson. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pass out everyone's paper. Everyone is going to get this. On this paper is just the assessment, the pre-assessment. All right. You are going to copy the statements 1 to 6. I have 6 statements on this paper. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through these statements, and you're going to either write agree or you're going to write disagree over here in the column that says before reading, because we haven't read the passage yet, and I want to see what you guys think before we dive into our passage on Korea. All right, as I read through these, I want you guys to go ahead and fill in this first column. So, number 1. Kimchi is a food that is made of pickled vegetables. You're either going to write agree or you're going to write disagree in the first box. As I move along, just go ahead and fill it in with me. Number 2, foods in Korea are like foods from China and Japan. Number 3, a peninsula is land surrounded by water on 3 sides. Number 4, Korea is separated into North and South Korea. Number 5, over 1,200 people live in each square mile of South Korea. Number 6, children in South Korea play games like children in the USA do. The last one. All right, go ahead and raise your hand when you are done writing agree or disagree on your sheet. All right, good job. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to read our Korea passage. I'm going to read it out loud to you guys, and you guys are going to listen as we read through the facts, When I think of something that might make a connection, I might say it out loud. So make sure you pay attention to those little side notes that I might be adding in there. So let's go ahead and get started. The title of this passage is Korea. Kimchi is heard in South Korea while happy faces smile for pictures. Instead of saying cheese for the camera, South Koreans say kimchi. Kimchi is a food that is unique to Korea and is made of pickled vegetables. That kind of looked like what was on the picture on the board before we started. Kimchi is one of the most popular pickled vegetables, and they are included with cucumbers, cabbages, and turnips. Koreans prefer to pickle vegetables instead of cooking them. Pickling vegetables means that the vegetables sit in a jar of spices, sometimes for months and months, until the vegetables are soft and full of flavor. I bet this makes them really hot. Kimchi is often enjoyed for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and rice is eaten every day. Could you imagine eating rice every day? You'd be so full. Other foods in Korea are like Chinese or Japanese foods. I know I've had Chinese and Japanese food, but I wonder if I've ever had Korean food. Korea is found on the continent of Asia. Koreans enjoy all 4 seasons just like we enjoy them on the continent of North America. The capital of South Korea is Seoul. China and Japan are Korea's neighbors. Seoul hosted the 1988 Summer Olympics. Even though the culture of South Korea is like the culture of America in some ways, the country has many unique traditions. How would you like to already be considered 1 year old on the day you were born? You could if you were born in South Korea. You would also get to have a great celebration on the 100th day of your life. So if they're 1 when they're born, they must count whenever they were in the womb. Korea is located on a peninsula. Florida is a peninsula, meaning that the country is surrounded by water on 3 sides while still connected to a piece of land. The country of Korea has low, rugged hills, swamps, and woodlands. Kind of sounds like Florida. Many years ago, at the end of World War II, the country of Korea divided into 2 parts called North Korea and South Korea. Even though North and South Korea are part of the same country, the way of life in North Korea is very different from the way of life in South Korea. Just as you might occasionally fight with a brother or sister, North and South Korea don't always get along. Not us, we don't fight with our brothers and sisters, right? People living in North Korea speak only Korean, while people in South Korea speak both Korean and English. The government in North Korea has many strict rules. People living in North Korea cannot choose their own jobs, and the country often lacks food, electricity, and medicine. This is definitely not somewhere that we want to live. It doesn't sound like. People living in North Korea cannot choose their own jobs. People choose their own jobs in South Korea. They have many resources such as food and water, and the country is a peaceful place to live. South Korea is a small country where a lot of people live. Over 1,200 people live in each square mile of South Korea. That many people in such a little area must be packed. South Koreans love technology like phones, computers. South Korea also has some of the fastest internet speeds in the world. Children in South Korea love using the fast internet to play the same games you may enjoy in America. So when you're playing those video games online and you're talking to kids, you might be talking to someone all the way from South Korea. All right, we are going to go ahead and stand up, and we're gonna get our peanut butter jelly cards out and disperse them so we can partner up. All right. We have 3 jellies and we have 3 peanut butters today. My peanut butters are going to be Lacey, Zayn, and Johnny. My 3 jellies are going to be Shannon, Mikey, and let's see, Chelsea. I'm gonna go ahead and pass out your peanut butter jelly partners or your cards, and whenever you get your card, I want you to go find my jellies. Are gonna go find a peanut butter real fast. All right, here you go. Wait for all of your friends to get their card. All right, good job. Go ahead and find your peanut butter jelly partner. All right, all my peanut butter jelly groups are together. So we're gonna go ahead and count down. When I get to 0, I want all eyes and all ears on me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you guys. This is your reminder. When we do our peanut butter jelly partner talk, it is a whisper talk, just like this, a whisper talk. We don't want me to hear, we don't want your friends to hear, we don't want people taking answers. So make sure that the discussion you're having is just between you and your partner. Remember, you and your partner are gonna come up with an answer, because if I call on peanut butter or if I call on jelly, we both need to have the same answer ready to go. All right? So what we're gonna do is, I have 4 questions. I have my first question here on the board. Whenever I switch to my question, I'm gonna read it out loud. Then I want you guys to discuss it. Don't raise your hand, just discuss it. And when I call for a peanut butter jelly, then you may raise your hand for answering the question. So, question number 1. What is a peninsula? Go ahead and whisper talk with your partner. I will be coming around listening, making sure we're following those rules about partner talk. Then go ahead and make sure you're talking to only your partner. What is a peninsula? All right. My peanut butters can answer this one for me. Go ahead and raise your hand if you're a peanut butter and you want to give me an answer. A peninsula is like an island? Well, no, it's not an island, because an island is a body of is a body of land that is completely surrounded by water. Can we go ahead and try again? Can another peanut butter help us out? Yes, Lacey. A peninsula is just like Florida, yes. The peninsula is a body of land that is surrounded by how many sides of water? 3, good job, 3. So a peninsula is a body of land that is connected still to the main part of land, but then surrounded by 3 other parts of water. My next question. How do children play in South Korea? How do children play in South Korea? Go ahead and start your partner talk. All right, my jellies, this one's for you. Go ahead and raise your hand if you want to answer the question. Yes, ma'am, Shannon. Children play in South Korea just like us, right? So the children in the USA and the children in South Korea play a lot alike. They play on technology. Technology would be like games, right? Games or computers. The children there play on it, and so do the kids in the USA. Good job. Let's go ahead and switch over to question number 3. What are other foods that are similar to Korean foods? Go ahead and partner talk. What are foods that are similar to Korean foods? This group needs to talk to one another. Okay, that's your partner. Share your ideas with them. All right, my jellies, go ahead and raise your hand. Yes, ma'am. Foods that are similar to Korean foods are like Japanese and Chinese food. So that might mean the rice and the noodles and the soy sauce. Those kinds of foods that we get when we go to Chinese or Japanese restaurants are going to be a lot like these Korean dishes, just like the kimchi that we saw at the very beginning. Good job. You guys were listening really well because these questions are not stumping y'all. Last question. Is North Korea a friendly place to live? Why or why not? Go ahead, partner talk. Is North Korea a friendly place to live? Why or why not? Good job. I see those whisper talks. We're discussing it. All right, this one is for my peanut butters. If you're a peanut butter, go ahead and raise your hand. Yes, sir. North Korea, you're correct, is not a nice place to live. It's not a friendly place to live, and that's because it has so many rules. Well, it has a lot of rules. It's very strict. Right. People are not able to pick their own jobs. North Korea is definitely a place that you would be very sad living in. It's a lot different than the USA, isn't it, guys? Yes, because in the USA, we get to pick our jobs, we get to pick our games, we get to pick where we go. It's not like that in North Korea. All right, good job, everybody. You guys did fantastic.